Okay, so for our main course today, we're gonna be doing one of my classic favorites, pasta, but we're actually gonna do a lighter version. I'm going to be using zucchini instead of regular pasta. So again, this is gonna be a gluten-free version, and it's gonna save you tons of calories, which means you can kind of jazz up the flavors in the sauce a little bit more. We're gonna do a pesto dressing. It's gonna be a basil and kale, and we're actually gonna swap out the pine nuts for almonds. So it's a little bit more nutritious, but you're not gonna notice the difference in terms of flavor. It's gonna be awesome. All right, so I'm just gonna dress the heirloom tomatoes. These are some heirloom cherry tomatoes that I grabbed from Trader Joe's. If you haven't noticed already, I am a major fan of Trader Joe's. They have great fresh produce. So we're gonna toss it with some olive oil, a little bit of fresh cracked black pepper, and some sea salt. Really, really simple, and we're just gonna roast it on a relatively high heat. I usually do around 400, 425 for about, I'll guess and say 20 minutes, but again, I'm gonna warn you guys, I like to check and just do the look-see test. So we'll pop them in and we'll just keep our eye on them. All right, so I'm putting my buddy to work. Nick, you are in charge of the salad here. This is gonna go alongside our zucchini pesto pasta. So right now, I've got him trying to deconstruct a pomegranate, which I gotta say is an experiment because I've never done it before, so I'm enjoying watching him do it. So it's kind of going everywhere. We are trying to use like a little melon baller right now, and it's, you know, it's getting the job done slowly but surely. If anybody has any good techniques, feel free to let me know. So basically, if you feel like paying the money to buy the already seeded pomegranate seeds, beautiful, but they were $5 today and I was just not feeling that. So we bought a full one and that's what we're doing. So right now we just have spring mix in our bowl. It looks like this one, I grabbed a bag that has a frisee, some baby chard, some romaine, and a couple other things in here. So, you know, whatever you prefer, feel free to explore with that. So we're gonna start by throwing in some quinoa. I went ahead and cooked it ahead of time, did the hard part for you. No, it's actually really easy. It's just 1 part quinoa for 2 parts water. You can substitute that for vegetable stock or chicken stock if you prefer. Adds a little flavor. I actually just did a little bit of garlic powder, onion powder, and then I threw in some diced red onion to let it cook in there while the quinoa was cooking. And then some salt and pepper. It takes about 10-15 minutes, really, really easy, and then you can just let it cool. So let's go ahead and actually toss this in. And I'd say we can actually do the whole amount. This batch was about 3/4 cup quinoa dry. So then it comes out to what you're seeing here. God knows I know how much that is. Okay, so then we're gonna just toss that around a little bit. Actually, you know what? Let's add in the rest of the dry ingredients and we'll toss all together. So let's do the crumbled feta. Do you like feta?
I love feta.
Awesome. So however much you're feeling, it really doesn't matter. It depends on how much you like feta. Feta is a very strong cheese. It's very dry and salty. So just keep that in mind when you're doing your dressing. You don't need a lot of extra salt. So if that's what you want.
Let's go one more.
Yeah, I say a little more. Right on. All right. So now we're gonna do our palm seeds, which we worked so hard to get out of the palm. So let's go ahead and just wait. I don't think we need all of them. I would say just grab a little handful and see how it looks. Yeah, look at that color. We want to eat our colors. That is the key to nutrition. You want to eat your colors, and I'm not talking orange Cheetos. I'm talking green vegetables and red fruits and all that deliciousness. All right, cool. So let's do some raw sliced almonds. You can actually toast them too, but I'm too lazy to do that today, so we're just gonna do them raw. Either way is delicious. Perfect. Let's do a little squirt of lemon, and just make sure when you squeeze it, you want to squeeze it into your palm like this so that you're blocking the seeds from going in, or you can use your other hand if you need to, like so. And then you kind of use your fingertips as like a strainer. Wave it like that. Gorgeous. All right, cool. So how do you feel about balsamic?
Balsamic. Big fan of balsamic.
You're a fan? Okay, cool. So we're gonna make some dressing now, so stay tuned for that. All right, so I had set my timer for about 15 minutes. I'm just gonna pull these out and check on the status here. And they're doing pretty good. They're starting to open up. If you take a closer look here, you see some of them are splitting a little bit. We want them to actually get nice and soft like this baby over here. So we're gonna keep them going for a couple more minutes. I'm gonna pop them in for about 5 more minutes and see what happens. I actually think I'm gonna crank the heat up another 10 degrees or so. I've got it going on 400 right now, so we're gonna go to 425 and see what happens. So just pop these back in. Okay, so now we're gonna make the dressing, just real quick, super simple. It's just gonna be a balsamic, and I'm just gonna jazz it up a little bit with some mustard. I prefer Dijon, but again, we're being resourceful today. So just a little squirt here of the mustard, I'd say about a teaspoon. And we're gonna do 1/3 balsamic to 2/3 olive oil ratio. Again, totally eyeballing it. You can taste as you go just to see. This in here. Perfect. Okay, and then I'm just gonna add a little pepper. I don't need salt because remember we put feta in the salad, so it's gonna be nice and salty already. And normally I would also add a little lemon juice to this, but we went ahead and dressed the salad individually with the lemon juice. It took care of that for me. Now we're just gonna kind of whip it up here. Oil and vinegar obviously do not mix, so you really gotta give it some arm muscle in order to get it to kind of emulsify. Smooth there, perfect. That'll do. All right, so now we're just gonna go ahead and drizzle this on here. Nick, you wanna do the honors of tossing?
I do.
Sweet, get your fingers dirty. Delicious. Super easy, super flavorful. We've got our sweet and our savory in there, and the quinoa adds some nice protein and some fiber. So this is actually a really filling, nice hearty salad. You could actually eat this alone as a meal. You could jazz it up with a fillet of salmon on top, maybe some grilled chicken, whatever you prefer. So this is kind of a meal in itself. We're pairing it with our zucchini pasta. So yeah, there you have it. Can't get any better with this color and this smell. We're gonna use our basil for our pesto for the zucchini pasta. I'm just picking enough, I'd say maybe 2 cups worth, because it's pretty full, so it will pat down when we blend it up. You actually kind of need a lot, which is why basil plants come in handy. You can actually buy full basil plants from most grocery stores for about the same price that you would pay for a little package. So it's definitely worth the investment if you're willing to water it once a week. And I have discovered that it's my new favorite thing. It kind of works as an air freshener. All right, so we're gonna get started on our zucchini pasta. Like I mentioned in one of my previous video blogs, we actually are gonna be using the mandolin again. This time we've got it on the setting where it has the julienne style blade. I've got the smaller width on there right now, but it depends on your personal preference. I like this width because it cooks at a faster rate and it gives you more of a pasta-like texture. So I went ahead and trimmed the ends of the zucchini just to get the rough bits off. And we're gonna actually shave it with the skin on. If you prefer it without, that's fine. I think it just gives you a little extra fiber, so I don't mind it. And we're just gonna very gently run it across. Be very careful to keep your fingers out of the way. If you wanna use the guard, feel free. This is just so you can keep your hands out of the way of the blade. I find that when you get down to a certain point, it doesn't really do its job anymore, so I guess we'll start off safely. Just to give you an idea of what it's gonna look like, you're gonna get these awesome little noodle-like strips. They kind of move like pasta, and the best part about it is these are 1/3 of the calories. So you can eat an entire pasta serving by yourself, which would be like a full zucchini. You're gonna be 40 calories versus probably 250. So I say, yeah, that's a pretty good swap out. All right, so we've got our pan, our saute pan heated to about medium. I usually start out a little bit higher and then I'll turn it down after I put the zucchini in. There's a little bit of olive oil in there. So we're just gonna go ahead and add zucchini in. And this cooks so fast, guys. We don't want to overcook the zucchini because it'll turn into mush. We just want it to get a nice quick heat, and then it'll soften up just to the perfect temperature, and literally it's almost identical to the texture of pasta, which is really awesome because you get that pasta fix. You can twirl it on your fork, and then you can indulge in the sauce because you're cutting calories with the zucchini pasta, stuffing that instead of having regular noodles. So we're just gonna keep this moving on the heat. We don't wanna overcook it. And like I said, literally 2-3 minutes tops. Probably not even that much, to be honest. Just make sure you coat it nicely. We're gonna add a little bit of Italian seasoning, which is just a little basil, rosemary, oregano. It's kind of just a slew of dried herbs. I like a little spice. Feel free to omit this if you're not a fan. It's good for your metabolism though, so if you can handle it, I say pick it up a notch. We're gonna toss a little in here. I got approval from my buddies. They are okay with the chili pepper today. A little cracked black pepper. And it's ready for the sauce. So we got the pesto, parmesan, garlic. We've got a kale and basil mix. Olive oil, and I actually add a touch of water so that you don't have to use quite as much olive oil. That way it'll still blend, but you're not getting like total grease factor. Okay, so you only want to keep this in the pan long enough to get the sauce warm. You're not cooking the sauce in any way, so I'm just gonna toss this through. And then those cherry roasted tomatoes that we went ahead and roasted earlier, which are looking mighty fine now. We left them in a little longer, remember? We're gonna throw those in now. Nice and soft and gooey. They have a really nice sweetness to them, which will really balance out the tanginess and the spiciness of the garlic and the pesto sauce. Look how beautiful that is. Look at all the color we've got going on. All right, now we're just gonna plate. All right, so all we have left are our finishing touches. I'm gonna have Nick do some fresh grated Parmesan cheese, so you wanna go for it? And again, zest to your liking. Keep in mind that Parmesan is not the healthiest of garnishes, so depending on how much you're trying to cut back right now, you can kind of keep that in mind. Clearly Nick is not cutting back right now. He's liking the cheese. All right, so now I'm gonna just add a little bit of fresh basil on top. Just to give it a nice little garnish here. If you wanna add some more red chili flakes, it gives it a nice red pop. And there we have it. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. As you can see, I've got a lot of green going on my plate. There's literally very low calorie in this. If you take off the crackers, it's virtually carb free, and it's tons of flavor packed in there. One of the most important things that my mom taught me when I was growing up is don't mess too much with your food. You don't want to fuss with it, you don't want to overwork it, you don't want to overthink it. Sometimes the simplest dishes are the most delicious. There's a lot of nutrition in here and there's a lot of flavor. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right, dig in, my friend.
Bon appetit.
Bon appetit.
It's delicious.
Thanks for watching. I'm Katie Lee, and this is More Please.
Holy crap, it's really good.